I've been wanting to unbox these for far too long. Here is He-Man and Battle Cat, part of the Revelations line. I bought these well over a year ago, and they've been sitting in my closet getting pushed to the back of the line. As was for a lot of children in the 80s, He-Man was a prominent figure in my daily cartoon regimen. It sat at the top of the heap with G.I. Joe, Transformers, Mask, and Thundercats. I was just going through some old photos, and in the background of a Christmas photo was Castle Grayskull, the quintessential playset to have. As with most of my toys, they were sold at yard sales or given to other kids when I got older and wasn't playing with them anymore. Except for my G.I. Joes. I saved them from that terrible fate. I wish I had saved the rest of them. Let's get these out of their boxes and take a look. But first, make sure you like this video and subscribe. Getting this figure out of the package, he is really well designed. They have done a great job taking the oversized and over-muscled caricatures of the 80s and making them more realistic and more proportional to the cartoon. For starters, they gave He-Man's skin some texture. I didn't expect that. It elevates the look of this figure and also gives some visual interest with all of his exposed skin. If I remember correctly, the original toys were just smooth plastic. His body sculpt is very well done. Muscles on muscles, and his muscles have muscles, keeping true to the character artwork. He has his iconic chest armor that is removable if you want to go that route. He does have an ab crunch, which is always essential for a good action figure. It's not the ratcheting ab crunch like the G.I. Joe Classified series, it's more of a ball and socket, which gives that smooth ab crunch as well as being able to bend side to side. I like this head sculpt. It's a good interpretation from the actual animated series. The only thing that slightly frustrates me with the face sculpt, it's kind of smug, but it's also kind of happy at the same time. Maybe it's the eyebrow raise. This somewhere in between isn't really doing it for me. I don't know how to solve this problem because I've gone back to look at other He-Men that have been made over the decades, and they usually have gritted teeth or something to that effect. Take my bitching with a grain of salt. This is a me problem. Something that would have been nice would have been multiple head sculpts. That way you can choose which head you want for whatever pose or situation. But we didn't get that, and that's okay. His arms have a pretty wide range of motion, however, the muscles do get in the way at a certain point. On his left hand, he does come with a forearm guard that is removable if you take off his hand. It actually works quite nice with one of the accessories that we'll see in a minute. It's nice to see that Mattel has adopted the double-hinged elbow joints for these figures, or at least for this one. I haven't opened any others yet. His wrists do have a pivot point in them, but it doesn't provide a wide range of motion, so that's kind of limiting. We get an upper thigh swivel and double-hinged knee joints as well. The foot joints are pretty standard issue that are on most figures these days and have a pretty great range of motion. Nothing to complain about there. The boots are also very well sculpted. His head, however, does not have a wide range of motion, partially due to his hair, but also the thickness of his neck. I noticed it when posing. I was a bit limited to what I could do. As for accessories, he comes with a second pair of holding hands. The ones that come on the figure are a fist hand and an open hand. I would have liked if they had provided the same hands for both sides, but they did not do that. We also get He-Man's shield, and then the thing that we coveted as children, the iconic Power Sword. There have been some slight variations of it over the years, but I think this is a very good interpretation of that sword. This figure does not have a dedicated loop on the back of the armor to carry his sword, but you can slip the sword through the armor so he can carry it. The other nice feature is that if you don't want him to carry anything, is that you can slip the sword through the shield straps and then through the armor, and that way he can carry everything on his back. I really love when a character is able to carry all their accessories, even if it's in a modified manner. He has the ability to hold the sword in either hand, but only the ability to hold the shield in his left hand. The way that they crafted this, or maybe it just worked with the design of the new version of He-Man, the gauntlet on his forearm, as well as his open hand position, allows for the shield to slot perfectly onto his arm and stay there. I know for me at least, I remember the original figure's shield just falling out of his hand all the time. This one almost clicks or locks into place, which is beautiful. Something so simple but so perfect at the same time. Now let's get Battle Cat out of his box. There is so many plastic pieces holding this figure in. All of these figures, including Battle Cat, boast 30 points of articulation. That's pretty awesome. The original Battle Cat had 0 points of articulation. I had one as a child. It was just one molded piece of plastic in one position. The armor did come off to reveal Cringer, but it was still in that same aggressive Battle Cat pose. Look at those toe beans. He's got some big paws on him, which he should. He's a giant tiger. For starters, he has an articulating lower jaw. This way you can have it closed when he's in his meek Cringer form, or have it open and aggressive for when he is Battle Cat. The saddle is made out of a flexible plastic that straps around his midsection with 2 locking straps. His front legs have 3 points of articulation and his back legs have 4. As you'll see in the turnarounds, you can get him into some pretty deep stances. As with the original, his armor can be removed to reveal Prince Adam's sidekick, Cringer. Giving his head and neck 2 points of articulation allows for some of those low-slung head positions that Cringer would get into when he was scared. Such a good addition. Taking the saddle off, you'll also find that he has 2 mid-points of articulation, so he can bend and flex. The ball joints here allow for some good storytelling with his body. His tail also has a joint for posability as well. I'm slightly frustrated with the sloppy paint job of his stripes. From afar, you don't notice them, but when you really get up on this thing, I think they really could have done much better. Part of me wants to repaint them, but that's a project for another time. The one thing I noticed before we take this up to the turntable is that He-Man does not fit on Battle Cat very well. It seems like these 2 figures were designed separately and not with the idea that they would be paired together. That's not good in my opinion. He-Man's hip joints only flex out so much due to the way that they're constructed, so he has trouble getting his legs wrapped around the saddle. You can rotate his thighs a little bit, but all in all, he does not fit Battle Cat very well, and that hurts my soul. I did get a slightly better pose out of them when I took them up to the turntable, so let's go check that out. Being a He-Man fan from the 80s, and also now having seen both seasons, Revelations and Revolution, I really like what they've done with this toy line. I've seen versions of He-Man over the years, and they've tried to either reinvent or bring back the original, and they've all been a real hard sell for me. For whatever reason, this one hits pretty close to the right marks for me. His hair looks a little less Karen-ish in this version from the original, and his overall body proportions sit better with me than the original caricature versions. Don't get me wrong, I still love the original figures. The updated Battle Cat blows away my expectations now that he's out of the box. I really like what they've done with it. I really wish He-Man looked better sitting atop him, but that's what we got. I'm very pleased with my purchase and ashamed that I didn't open these earlier. I do have a small display piece that I would like to make for these now that they're open, so keep an eye out for that. If you're a fan of He-Man and can still find these figures at an affordable price, I definitely think they're worth picking up. I have a few more figures in this line that I purchased, and I will be unboxing those, so keep an eye out for those as well. Let's hope we get a Season 3 so we can get some more characters out of this line. If you enjoyed this video, make sure you comment, like, and subscribe. Thank you for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.